Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Farah Belizario, the Regional Director of Agent Services for Lair, Florida, and thank you for joining me for Calendar Mastery today. This is going to be a great class because I have taught it before, but I've made some recent edits that I think is going to be really, really helpful for everyone. It's an action-packed hour, so let's get started. To begin with, let's review the contents. We're going to be talking about mastering time management, key principles of time management, especially regarding realtors, identifying objectives, productivity techniques, talking about the 80-20 rule, time blocking, etc. Then we'll go into time blocking basics and Google Calendar integration. To begin with, what are some key principles of time management and why is it vital for realtors specifically? Number one, prioritization is very, very important. It will help you identify and rank tasks by importance to focus on what moves the needle most. All this means is that we can isolate the tasks that we need to complete in order to make a dent and make an impact in our business. One of the worst sensations that you can have is definitely not knowing where to start your day, just kind of being lost, and not to mention the tasks and items that you're required to do to get your business growing and moving are just piling up and you don't know where to start. So prioritization is a big piece. Focus, eliminate distractions and concentrate on one task at a time to improve productivity and reduce errors. As I like to say, Rome was not built in a day, and the pile isn't gonna shrink. The pile of tasks and requirements is not gonna shrink with you staring at it. So just kind of attack everything one step at a time, one task at a time, because truthfully, that is the very most you can do. Efficiency, streamline tasks, and utilize tools like Google Calendar to maximize productivity and complete tasks in less time. So first, we're going to talk about identifying objectives. I think this is the really, really good way to start your journey into time management. Because for me, understanding the why is a big piece. Why am I doing this? Why does this need to happen now? Why cannot wait later? Understanding the why is really helpful. So the why and the what. Why is defining why this objective is meaningful, aligning it with personal values or career goals to build motivation. So you really have two things, right? You have an objective, some sort of task that needs to be completed. Why are you completing the task? I find aligning it with things that I care about and that I'm invested in is really, really helpful for me. For instance, if there is a task such as calling warm leads, I might align this in my own mind with, okay, this is how I'm going to move the needle. This is how I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to be able to get an extra 2 clients this week, etc. Example, if the goal is increasing closings, the why could relate to career growth, financial goals, or work-life balance. Maybe there's a vacation you want to go to. That puts a little bit of pep in my step if there's something that I want to do or I want to get, and I need to do ABC in order to achieve it. So the why is really, really helpful. The how, what specific actions will I take to reach my goal? Break down your objective into detailed steps that you can keep on track. The how is also helpful because it can easily help you identify any things that are not working within your system. The how should always truly be a system. This class is not about building systems, but the more you regiment the activities that you need to do to reach your objectives, the better. And the more consistent the results, right? Granular action steps. We want to break down your objective into clear, manageable actions that keep progress steady. The way I relate this, and I think it's really easy to imagine, is maybe in March 2026, I want to climb Mount Everest, right? So that's a huge goal. It's a mountain-sized goal, pun fully intended. It's a mountain-sized goal, but what are the steps that I'm going to take? Maybe I'm going to go on a walk every morning. Maybe I have a gym session Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Maybe I'm drinking more water every day. Like, there are smaller steps that you need to focus on in order to make your way to a bigger step. I also think when you make your action steps granular, it makes it feel achievable. Because yeah, I can go to the gym on Tuesday for an hour. That's not a big thing. If you put Mount Everest right in front of me right now, that's going to be really hard to achieve without the smaller steps ahead of it. And then the when, we're looking for a daily and weekly structure. Schedule consistent times for key actions like daily client follow-ups, weekly goal reviews to maintain progress. So identifying our objectives, we want with the why and the what, the how and the when, and this will kind of all congeal and come together in our calendar. 1 second, I'm gonna turn my fan on. It is Florida after all. Oh, so much better. All right, so we talked about that. Now we're going to move on to productivity techniques. We talked about what our objectives are, how to align them, how to focus on them, so on and so forth. I think this is really, really helpful to talk about the techniques we can use to get there. So number one, and my favorite, is the 80-20 rule. 80% of the results come from 20% of your efforts, which is very, very true. How to apply? We want to identify, and I'm going to show you an example of this shortly. We want to identify high impact tasks and prioritize them. That is, you can think of it as the 20% of items and tasks that I need to achieve today for today to be successful. Our entire to-do list would be considered 100%, right, of everything that needs to happen. But let's identify 20% of that absolutely non-negotiable must happen today. What to avoid? Low impact focus. Don't dwell on tasks that yield minimal results. This is really the comfort zone, right? Because, for instance, maybe you're very comfortable with social media, but it's not moving the mark. That would be a low impact focus. It's not impacting your business, right? But you're comfortable and it's something you enjoy doing. That's not something we should be focused on. We should be focused on identifying and completing high impact tasks. And then urgent distractions, avoid letting less important tasks derail your priorities. This happens all the time. Oh, I gotta go to the grocery store. Oh, I have to do laundry. These are urgent distractions that we trick and convince our own mind are more important than the task ahead of us. That's a huge pitfall. Another great productivity technique is the ABC method, where we rank tasks A, B, and C. A is the high level. This is a high focus item. And C is something that I can either delegate or that I can move on to the next day. What you want to avoid is overcomplication. This is really simple. You don't need to bog yourself down and eat up your time trying to figure out which tasks are high focus or low focus. You already know what they are. And again, I still think you can do the 80-20 rule here too, because I think it's more about necessity, about what needs to happen today in this moment for me to be successful. That's going to move the needle. And ignoring lower tasks is a big one too. That's something you do not want to do. It's something that I myself find I do often, because I'll either delegate a C-level task or I'll just keep paying it forward to tomorrow's to-do list. And that's not good either, because you don't want your C-level task to become a task just because you ignore them. Does that make sense? And then the Eisenhower matrix. This is a good one. This is a little bit more complex. It's not something I lean on often, but you can categorize your task by urgency and importance. How to apply? We're going to prioritize our important and urgent tasks, and then, of course, delegate low priority items. If you can see this small matrix, our top left corner is urgent and important. That would be the 20%. That would be those A-ranked tasks. Then to the right is not urgent, but still important. For instance, I have to make a dentist appointment. That's important, but it's not urgent unless I have a bad toothache, right? And now we have urgent but not important. Maybe I need to go pick up school supplies. It's urgent in that it's time related and short, but it's not important. Maybe it's something I can delegate to somebody else. Maybe I can order from Amazon instead of going to the store. And not urgent and not important is what I call urgent distractions, right? These are things that I want to be doing, but I have better things to do, right? So it's a really good way to organize your information. So we talked about these were productivity techniques, right? How do we apply them? How do we use them day to day? What are some ways that we are going about applying these to our day-to-day life? Number one, time blocking. It's my favorite thing. And we're going to talk about time blocking basics shortly as well. Allocate specific blocks of time for dedicated tasks. I should also mention that I prefer time blocking for recurring tasks, things that you do over and over again, or else there's no need to time block, or else it's just an individual scheduled event or appointment, right? How to do it. Create a weekly schedule, blocking out time for each task, including breaks and buffer times. Buffer times are huge. If one of your tasks and this is just aside from time blocking, but in general, if one, or even with time blocking, if you go to your mother's house weekly and it's a 30-minute drive and you spend 2 hours there, how much time should that take up on your calendar as a reoccurring block? 2 hours or 3 hours? The answer is 3 hours, because travel time to the location is 30 minutes, travel time back home is 30 minutes. That's time. It takes time to drive. Yeah, you're not working on your business at that moment, but that is time that you need to account for. Action steps, and we're going to go into this deeply. Plan your week in advance. And just do a quick time check. One moment. Okay, so time blocking. You want to allocate, pardon, really quickly. There we go. Okay. You want to allocate specific blocks of time for dedicated tasks. How to do it. Create a weekly schedule, blocking out time for each task, including breaks and buffer times. Action steps. You want to plan your week in advance, use color coding on your calendar, which I love, for different types of tasks, and avoid overscheduling, leave room for breaks. Pomodoro technique. Work is focus. Pomodoro technique is one of my favorites as well. We want to work and focus bursts for maximum efficiency. You want to use a timer app on your phone, setting intervals for focus work and breaks. And then action steps, set a timer for 20 minutes of focused work, follow with a 5-minute break and repeat. Avoid skipping breaks. Daily tasks, ensure no task gets left behind with daily rolling task lists. So how do you do it? You use a planner or a digital app to list tasks, prioritize them by importance. Action steps, we want to review your list each morning and pull unfinished tasks from the previous day to your new list. You do not want to overload at all. All right, so now how do we combine everything together? Productivity and application equal efficiency. We're going to combine these three things, these two things, to come up with a way that we are efficient on a day-to-day basis. So you can combine the 80-20 rule, which is also called the Pareto principle, with time blocking, and this will basically maximize your impact with very structured focus. How to do it. Focus on high impact tasks while allocating specific time blocks to work on them. Example, after analyzing your tasks, you find the social media outreach and follow-ups with existing clients or most productive activities, the 20% that yield 80% of the results. You then allocate 2 hours every morning exclusively for these activities on your calendar. That's a great way to do it. And then we have the ABC method, and daily task list is equaling comprehensive task management. How do you do it? Daily review. Start each day by reviewing your tasks and assigning an A, B, or C priority level based on their importance. List creation. Create a rolling task list where a task must be completed that day. B task can roll over to the next day if I'm finished. And then you have a check off system where you are keeping track of the completed tasks. And by the way, this feels amazing. Once you finish completing tasks and you're able to scratch it off or check it off, that's absolutely awesome. And move any rolling tasks to ensure nothing is overlooked. This way, everything is completely captured, nothing gets forgotten, and the things that are important get taken care of. So I'm going to show you a quick example. This is actually my daily to-do list that I use every single day. And just so you know, the way I've broken down this sheet is called a Cornell method. Basically, it's blocking out my page to ensure that every section, screen sharing is paused. Is it? Why? 1 second. One moment, everyone. Thank you. I'm on mute. Tom, is that why you had your hand raised? I believe. Okay. So for the agenda section, this is my personal list that I use all of the time. Let me see. Okay, thank you. This is my personal list that I use all of the time. At the top, you see the agenda. The agenda is pulled directly from my calendar. At the beginning, at the top, you see I have morning admin, and then I have an event that I'm attending at 10 a.m. This is items from today's calendars, and it must have a time stamp to qualify as an agenda item. I do my business agenda on one side, and then I do the personal agenda on the other side. Very, very helpful. To-do list, unfinished tasks, which is comprised of unfinished tasks from the previous day and newly identified tasks based on goals and deliverables from today. Maybe I read an email, there's something I have to share, et cetera, et cetera. Pareto principle and 80-20 rule. I wanted to show you that this is something I use all the time. All of my highlighted tasks that you see on my list, those are what I'm considering my 20%. These are the items I must complete today in order to have a successful day. Really, really important to identify them. Now, my biggest pitfall that I always experience is that it's more than the 20%. It's never exactly 20%. Hold on, let me see the chat. Oh yeah, hi Lindsay, thank you. So let's go into time blocking basics, all right? So time blocking basics, because I think it's really, really important to have a time blocking system. Because I think going into time blocking is like, what am I blocking? Why am I making a space for this? So step one, and I'm going to show you examples, so don't worry, is personal recurring time blocks. This is family time, health time, self-care, etc. Do's for this type of time blocking is you want to block out sleep, which I don't. My time blocking is only in my waking hours, so it's between 9 and 8 p.m. If you want to make it that extensive where you include your sleep and your lunch and all of that, you can. Keep consistent week to week. These are things that are recurring, that happen all the time. Don't skip personal needs for work or overfill with tasks. Don't forget buffer time. Step two, goal and habit-based time blocking. We're going to focus, now that we've got our personal recurring time blocks on the calendar, we want to focus on goal and habit-based time blocking. Number one, prospecting, marketing, and growth. Do's, block time for income producing activities. Protect this time like client appointments. Very, very important. And the reason why it says that is I believe that a lot of the time, regrettably, we do not support our own goals and our own daily objectives. We really focus on the goals and objectives of others. So in your mind, act like this is a listing appointment, even if you're just taking a class. So it levels up that sensation of importance to you. You want to start small, but stay consistent. Very, very important. Don't block unrealistic chunks. Don't fill with busy work. Agreed. We don't need 4 and 5 hours of an administrative block. That's ridiculous. Move them around constantly, because then you're not time blocking. That's just a regular weekly agenda. Speaking of, step 3, you want to add in your weekly agenda, your to-dos, meetings, showings, appointments, etc. Dues, you want to add in must-do appointments weekly, review each Sunday or Monday, and prioritize around recurring blocks, but don't ignore your recurring blocks. And we want to make sure we don't overload with every little task. So if we go out for, let's say, a vape break, right, at 12:15 every day, it doesn't need to go on your calendar. We want to block big sections. I try to block things that are an hour or longer. If it's a meeting that happens to be 30 minutes, then that will end up on my weekly agenda. But if it's something that's short, even though it's recurring, I won't necessarily add it in. You may want to, though. This should be personalized. It should be about you. And do not double book yourself. OMG, double booking yourself is a horrible, horrible thing. So number 1, I wanted to give you guys kind of like an example of what we could look like. This is a blank weekly like agenda calendar, and we're going to kind of just go through the steps of what this is going to look like for you. All right, so first step was putting in our personal blocks. These are recurring things that we do all of the time. For instance, if I grocery shop at 9 a.m. on Sunday, then that's it. It's okay to have that time to do it. You are not at a loss of time because you're trying to squeeze it in. But if there's any way to make it a recurring time and date so that it's manageable and you know when these things are occurring, even better. Maybe we have baseball practice Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, and a baseball game on Saturday. You want to block that out because that's non-negotiable. That's family time. That's things you need to do, etc. These things go on your calendar. They stay on your calendar. These are long-term recurring items. Step 2, work blocks. This is when we start incorporating real estate in our business, right? These are recurring items that have to do with my work that I do every single week. They are either goal or habit based. For instance, I have a habit of doing morning administrative work for an hour. I check all of my emails. I rewrite my to-do list for today. I don't do it at 10, I do it at 9. But that's a great time block to have because you know it's going to get used and it's not overused. It's not like my whole schedule is administrative work. And then goal-based, maybe I want to start getting better at making warm lead calls, right? So maybe I put that on my time block as a time block so I don't ever mess it up. And I always have the time for it, and it's always in my face reminding me that this is something I need to do. So this is really, really good to have. This is a really good way. And then additionally, this is a great way to see how much time you do have for other things that you want to do. Now we have a clear idea of my entire week and the time I have available and the time I do not have available. Very important. And number 3 is weekly agendas and to-dos. These are things that popped up this week alone. They are non-recurring. Maybe I have a dentist appointment at 4 p.m. on a Sunday. Maybe the baseball game for Saturday has an hour drive. I need to build that into my schedule. Very, very important that we do these things. I like doing my calendar this way because it helps me know that I will be able to tackle everything. I feel like there's no clear way to know what is going on or know that you have time to take care of things without planning out your week this way. And again, you're not really doing that much planning. Once you have your recurring personal items and your recurring business item, you're really week to week only filling in the agenda and the to-dos. So I wanted to share, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. I wanted to share my Google Calendar so I can just show you what this looks like. Wonderful. Let me share my screen. And I'm going to be looking off to the side because that is where I'm at. All righty, all righty. So this is Google Calendar. For most of you, and for all of you, honestly, if you've gotten a Layer email, you also have Google Everything. That means you have Google Sheets, you have Google Drive, you also have Google Calendar. Google Calendar is one of my favorite tools in the world. And I'm going to walk you through how it works, what it looks like, so you get to start doing it too. And then you can see some of the principles that I am teaching at play in my calendar. This is a light week for me. The end of the month is a tough time. It's not really showing on here, but I have a lot of stuff to prepare for the beginning of next month. And so it doesn't show on my schedule. I really should do some monthly time blocks in addition to my weekly time blocks, but this is a good example anyway. So let's just first look here at my actual schedule. I have morning admin every single day. That is a block that I honor because I need that time. I need to be able to focus on my business, and I need to get everything in order. If I don't have that time in the morning, it makes me feel like I'm kind of lost. I don't know. I don't have any sense of direction. Once I have that time and I've gone through my emails and I've written out my to-do list, and identified my top 20%, it makes me feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing today. I know what's happening. Okay, and so after that, I also have some administrative time blocks throughout the week, training time blocks as well, to help me make sure I'm aligned with what's going on at Lair, especially because I manage the calendar. Now, the reason I'm pointing these things out is because I want you to see that this works. You can do this. You can create a recurring time block. Additionally, I pick my son up every day as like a lunch break for at the end of the day. So 3:45 to 4:30. It's on my calendar as a personal event. Everyone can see it. Anyone I share my calendar can see that I'm going to go pick up my son. So I think it's helpful to work your calendar this way. It's really, really good. Now let's talk about some other things that are really important for you as well. Over here in the top, I want to just kind of walk you through the screen, and then we'll talk about entering in items and some cool things that Google Calendar really does well. So in the top, you have create. My favorite thing about Google Calendar is that there's 10 different ways to do one thing. So I can create an event by clicking create in the top left corner, or I can go to the day and time on the calendar itself and click, and it will automatically start creating an event for me. Over here, you can create an event, task, out of office, or appointment schedule. This is fairly new to Google Calendar. Now, appointment scheduling is an outward-facing feature. What does that mean? It means I can share a link with people and they can make an appointment with me on my calendar. I love this feature. It gives me control over my time. For instance, this might be a great thing if I have buyers, if I work with buyers often and I need to block out showing times, right? I can say, okay, here's my calendar, you pick the time. And I can utilize, there's a space in here where you can give information. I can utilize that space to really communicate well with my client or whoever's looking at it to let them know what the parameters, what are the parameters for this meeting? What can they expect? That way I'm managing their expectation and not stretching myself too thin. Some other aspects, you'll always have the calendar over here. I like breaking down my calendar into several individual calendars. I think this is very helpful because then I can quickly look across and see, oh, I'm spending too much time doing XYZ or not enough time doing this. Or if I have, for instance, let's say I have self-education time, I can quickly look without looking at details and say, oh, okay, I have a class on Wednesday at 12 that I have to make. I think this is really helpful for me. Do you have to do it? No, but I do think it is difficult to perceive a calendar where everything is all one color because it makes it difficult to assess without really focusing what you're supposed to be focused on for the day and where your time is going. At the top, you can always click today. That is one of my favorite features. So let's say I am looking all the way at November, December 2025, and I want to get back to the day that I'm on. They have a huge button in the top left corner that simply says today and will snap you back to the day that you're in. Very, very cool. Then we have some management features over here in the top. You can choose the way where it says week, you can choose the way you view your calendar. Do you like seeing a single day? Do you like seeing an entire month? My month looks super crazy. Do you like seeing the entire year? Let's see what year looks like. Oh, that's not helpful. Or do you prefer a 4-day calendar? I like 4-day calendars as well sometimes, but it makes it so it still feels like a week, but you can zoom in and see a lot better. Another option that they have here, I like the week, is to show weekends or not show weekends. Is your calendar all about Monday through Friday? Then great, you don't have to have Saturday and Sunday. However, if you want to show Saturday and Sunday, you can do show weekends like that. Other things we have, you have your switch to calendar and switch to tasks. We have a list of tasks that we can create for ourselves. Now, I don't really like tasks because I use my to-do list for my tasks, but if you wanted to add them, you can do it that way as well. If you want to add an event to your calendar, you simply add in a title, and you can define what kind of event it is. Is it simply a task? Is it out of office? Or is this an appointment schedule that I'm going to share with other people so they can make an appointment with me? Once you click into the day and time, you have some options too. Does it repeat? This is how we make a recurring schedule. And we have a lot of options here for days and times and ways that we can make all of these recurring. Add guests, add Google Meet, etc., add location. We have a lot of options here to make this as easy as possible. Do we have any questions for the time being, or we're good? And you can feel free to raise your hand. No? Well, that is what we have going for today. I hope you guys really enjoyed Calendar Mastery. I think these are going to be some really, really easy tips that you can incorporate. This video will be available for you in the Facebook group, as well as it will be on the YouTube channel shortly thereafter. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.